Howdy, howdy. How's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. Hope everybody's week is getting off to a fantastic start. Or, I guess, towards the end now. It is Thursday, after all. This is the Single Barrel Club tasting of the month. We got an awesome bottle to chat about. I got my man, Joe S. Unfiltered, also Joe Unfiltered, and Mr. Lee Diaz. Fellas, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Getting ready for another great tasting.
ready.
Yeah. Thanks for having
I'm
me.
ready. Now, Joe, very special guest today. We, meaning Lee and I, have the Single Barrel Club bottle selection, which we both, Lee picked it, sends me samples. We basically kind of talk about them, give approval, what I like, dislike. This one was a hit, a big hit for me. I had a feeling it was going to be. Joe does not have this one in particular, but I think it's going to be pretty fun because he does have a store pick from Dodds. Is it Dodds?
Dodds, yeah.
Yes.
I did get to help pick this one. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
It was part of the pick, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to go to Kentucky, pick that. I think it'll be fun to chat about a little bit of both. You know, what's the differences? What do we all think of the new Larceny barrel pick program? But Lee, what's some? Tell us about how this went down when you were picking it.
Yeah, I mean, so we've been doing a number of years of Elijah Craig picks and have loved picking those up. I think we actually just finished our 5th pick of Elijah Craig. And last year, as we were talking about making our way back to Kentucky, they said, hey, would you be interested in this program we're bringing back? It's been on hiatus for a number of years, and you'd be one of the first to get it. So that Larceny single barrel program, it disappeared, I believe, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was like 4 or 5 years it was gone. As a single barrel program offering, came back, and this is one of only 20 barrels that was added into this program for 2024. So, and then as we all know, sometimes things get lost. I think after the namesake, this actually works pretty well. This got lost for a little bit and finally made its way to our retailer a little bit late. So we went from being the first to pick it to probably the last to market for it. But I think that worked out to our advantage because now we can give somebody, give all of you guys something special.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to get right into tasting notes in a second too. I see the chat is popping off. I just want to also let the folks know, this is the first time that we've done it on the Wiskeyer channel, but normally these are private exclusive tastings to our members. So BottleRaiders.com, the link is right there if you're interested in joining the Bottle of the Month Club or the Single Barrel Club. Basically, this happens every single month. And normally we have another great friend with us who couldn't make it tonight. We chat about the barrels that we're selecting. You get a bottle every single month sent to your door, and sometimes we bring on people from the companies themselves. Like most recently, we did Bardstown, and we had the newly promoted master distiller answering your guys' questions. That's kind of what you get with this. So just want to let you know that's what's happening tonight. Thank you guys for being here. We wanted to be a public one. So hopefully if some of you are interested, you can join for the future. Let's get, I guess, right into the tasting. Yeah. Mr. Lee.
Man,
dude, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, these picks are popping off. So first thing is, man, on the label, you're going to see it says 7 years. The one thing that we like to get is just deep into the details, right? So this is actually 7 years, 7 months. It was pulled from warehouse P, floor 4. So we try to get as many of the details as we possibly can when we're trying to do a pick, because you just don't normally get that stuff. And these are great talking points just to share with your friends. So, man, on the nose, I mean, I get like cherry and oatmeal cookie.
The cherry, Lee. Yeah, you're like the cherry note on it. Oh,
I think all of these picks had that cherry, a little bit decadent nose.
I get like a little cherry cordial note. That was, I remember when we picked it, it was like that cherry cordial, kind of that creamy. Oh, it smells great.
Dude, Lee, I was going to say, Lee always is pointing out some stuff that I'm like, damn, I just wouldn't normally get that. And Lee just comes out of nowhere. He was talking about rose water sometimes, like and I was like, oh my God, it's identical. That oatmeal cookie. I got cherry. I'm not going to lie. I do get cherry like on my own, but the oatmeal cookie is like, whoa, on our pick at least. Joe, do you have any differences in yours besides just cherry?
I mean, it's kind of in line with like the oatmeal cookie. I get like a doughy or bready kind of note, like sweet doughy. Like if you took an oatmeal cookie, you put some like cherries in there, like that's totally what I'm getting. Smells
and I think that has to do really with that mash bill, right? So again, this is the wheated mash bill. It is 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. The same mash bill of the Old Fitz releases. If you're a fan of Old Fitz, I mean, start with Larceny and get your palate ready. But I think that wheated mash bill really comes out with some of those toastier notes. So again, oatmeal cookie, and it'll kind of come out throughout the release.
Yeah. I was one, whenever I started with Larceny, it was one that was a little bit underwhelming for me. And then I started getting I guess they call them they're barrel proof versions. I have one right here for comparison. Bought a couple of those, got burned on it. It just wasn't fitting my profile. And then I don't remember. Actually, I do remember a buddy of mine gifted me when the store picks just dropped, like when the single barrel program just came back. They're one of the first to get it. The only store in the state, maybe, or only 2 stores got a pick. He gifted me a bottle, and I was just blown away. I had to get my hands on more. When you sent me samples of your pick that you approved, like I'm game on these picks now. They are amazing. They really are for the price. It's so good. Yeah. Like on the palate too. I notice a lot of times Heaven Hill has this sort of nutty profile to it sometimes that may not be up my alley. And this does not have that, what I'm used to in some of the Elijah Craig picks or whatnot. It's definitely oaky though, but not the nutty oak that I normally get. It is nice char. It is that burnt sugar. Like I love this on the palate. It's a long lasting finish too.
There's also some great like citrus and like stone fruit in that mid palate. Like it's a really fun release because I think that actually Larceny was one of the first like just bourbons I had like under my sink before I knew where to put bourbon. And I mean, I think it's one of those that like it is light and it's a really nice pour, and I do get that oak. There's like a consistency of these releases that that's really fun. And then when you amp it up at proof, I mean, I think it really starts to shine.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and I came into your point, like going back, like for Larceny, for me, it was right around 2020, 2021 is when they started catching my radar, and then 21, their C921 batch came out, and I remember tasting that thing, and I was like, wow, one of the best wheated bourbons I had ever had, So as soon as I heard picks were coming and were going to be available, I was like, I can't wait, these are going to be nuts, And on the palate, I get like, to me, I always try to go with like relatable notes for things that I've tried. It's like I get like a strawberry Pop-Tart, a little bit of burnt, like a little bit of char. Like, it's just it's so good. The finish goes on forever.
Yeah, that finish. I also get like pipe tobacco, and I just it's fun. I love that that note because, man, I don't know. I mean, if you grew up like I'm an '80s baby into the '90s, like pipe smoking was I don't know, it was so popular back then. It's kind of disappeared, but like when you get really good pipe tobacco or you go into one of those stores, and it's really like, to your point, you could get strawberry pipe tobacco, right? And you get these fun flavors that people are then smoking. That's where I get like that spiciness mixed in with some of those flavors. And I mean, it's always like a nice, like, memory or reminiscent note, right? Like it's
To that point, Lee, it's so funny because you say that. My neighbor the other night, we were sharing some pours, and he pulled out a pipe with tobacco, and it brought me back, like just the smells and everything. We were sipping whiskey. It was great. Yeah, you're spot on,
dude. I one thing too. You call me crazy for it. This one is reminiscent and reminds me of another distillery almost too. It's that old dusty, like a turkey product does have sometimes. I think what's throwing me off a little bit is I'm so used to it being nuttier profile. Yeah, it doesn't have that. It's that dusty, nice oak. And to me, this is like a quintessential Kentucky. When you think of Kentucky bourbon, That's it to me.
Yeah.
It's got everything you want. Like, I don't think there would be, you could probably take the average Joe, you could take like the average Joe that has maybe 40 plus bottles on his shelf, not super advanced. Give him a pour this and ask, where did this come from? I would almost like, it would probably be a 10 out of 10 that they would say Kentucky. It just like, I don't know. To me, it's perfect.
And again, I think that's the influence of the wheat, right? Like, I think when you get a really good wheater, I do think you get some of that dustiness of the grain. I can't explain why, so I'm not going to make it up and act way smarter than I am, but there's almost like kind of that dusty quality of that grain that hits really well. I think it also just adds, just some nuance that when you're used to drinking just your typical bourbon, which again is rye instead of wheat. If anybody is confused about why we're talking about wheated versus, normal bourbon, you're removing some of that spiciness, you're adding in some of that complexity or depth. And I think you start getting the heat when you get into barrel proof, right? So like some of the spiciness that you get from rye, you're not going to get because we don't have it. You're going to get some of that spicy peppery notes from really the proof that it's coming to you at.
Yeah. So how many barrels did you choose from when you were on this selection? Do you remember?
Yeah. So for this one, we chose from 4.
Okay.
And what's really nice about, and Joe, I mean, jump in and talk about your experience as well. What I love about the Heaven Hill experience is they kind of walk you in, and there's just barrels set out for you, right? And they kind of say like, and we've been through there a few times. So our host Sylvia has been now with us 4 years. I'm going to bring her a 5th anniversary gift next year because I'm like, she's like family now. But there's barrels set out, and her whole thing is like, hey, based on what you've bought before, I've picked some that I think you're really going to love. And you have all the freedom in the world to say like, no. Like this is not what we're looking for. Can we try a few others? And they'll absolutely do that. What was great about this is I think she knows kind of what we tend to be looking for. And so she nailed it. Like all 4 of those picks that we had the option to buy essentially, I mean, were perfect and for different reasons. What I love about this is I think this is like your classic Larceny. Again, I've been drinking Larceny for quite a while now. This is like some of the reasons why I love Larceny. It's also a bit brash, right? Like I think Larceny as a brand, I want something that is a little hotter and a little brash to exemplify the brand. And I think you don't often expect that from a wheated whiskey. So you're thieving from the barrels, you're drinking straight from the barrel. You're taking that time, and then we hide kind of the notes on our barrels until we're done. Or if we need like some ways to break the tie, that's when we'll do, water. That's when we'll ask age. That's when we'll ask location, right? If we need tiebreakers, those are our tiebreaker items.
Yeah. And Lee, we did it almost the exact same. And I'll echo your sentiment. Like that pick experience, was lucky enough to go, and of all the different picks I've been able to take part in, that one was probably one of the best, if not the best. And I love the way they like laying out all the barrels, right? Kind of giving you, and hey, exactly like you said, it's a curated experience based on what you've purchased, based on what we know. These are the 4, we had 4 as well that we think you'll like. And then just going through and then being able to, go through them and take them out. And we waited as well. We didn't want stats or anything. We didn't want any influence on our decision. We said, let's wait until after,
Well, and it's hard, man, because if you get, if you start with proof or age, sometimes you get blinded, right? Like just like anything else. Like if somebody tells you a tasting note, you say strawberry, man, all of a sudden I start getting strawberry maybe, right? And so I think that, age, location, proof are all indicators that I want last, because if they're in the beginning, they may influence how I'm feeling about a whiskey.
So Lee, when you guys were going through, did you guys not say any notes then? Because like we did that. We had no one talked. It was funny because some people would be like, you'd see their face, you try to look away, like don't look at what their face is saying, But yeah, we tried to keep it very much. Let's let the pick team not say anything until after we go through, the four barrels. Yeah.
So I prefer not talking.
Okay, that's what we did. Yeah.
So that's my general preference. So last year it was a no talking group.
Yeah.
This year I actually invited Bob and Brad from the Film and Whiskey podcast to join us. As podcasters, man, they love talking, right? So they did want to talk through every pick as we went along, and I was happy to oblige. So I do have the preference of like, don't talk to me, let me take notes, and then we can talk. This year will be a little bit different because we talked all the way through. But I think I don't want anyone's influence.
Yeah.
And then I want to see, hopefully, that we matched.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that.
I did see a comment, Bourbon Bros. I can't read the rest of the name, but said, I haven't found a weeded yet that I like.
Ooh.
How many like different brands have you tried so far? Because when I was getting into it, that was honestly one of my favorite bourbons and whiskeys was weeded. I think they're pretty approachable, sweet for the most part. Some of them have a little bit different quality, of course, but like I'm thinking your Maker's Marks, your Weller Green Label, those are very, very approachable and sweet whiskeys. Then you have like Ben Holiday, your Old Fitz. You have this right here, your Larceny brand. So if you're still in here, I'm curious what brands you have had and haven't. Also, Joe, do you have any? I guess, do you like that single barrel profile, the single barrel profile that these give off more than the regular? Like this is a A125, for example.
The batch.
The batch versus single barrel.
Yeah.
What do you think you prefer? Both of you.
Oh, I think he froze, actually.
Oh, darn. Okay. So
either that or he's really mad at us right now.
That would be funny.
Dude, what if he was just spoofing us right now? Like he's totally making that.
I wouldn't doubt it. Joe he's pretty good at that.
All right, everyone that's watching, watch to see if he blinks or moves because
on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like some of the batched releases, right?
Yeah.
Like I think like anything that you put in front of me, single barrel or there we go. Single barrel or batched. I think that man, they're hit or miss. And the same thing happens with single barrels, right? Like when we pick in a single barrel program, I mean, luckily all four were great barrels. But we could have gone further than that. Like, oh shoot, like we actually need more whiskey because these aren't what we want. And I think the same thing will happen with some of those batch releases is like, the ones that everybody loves pretty darn quickly. And then we see the ones that are definitely not fan favorites and which numbers to not buy. So I think the same thing goes with, your batch releases. Just consider them like barrel proof small batches versus single barrel.
Yeah. I think that was great input too. I personally, like I said, I know I spoke it earlier. I really got burned on a lot of the batches that were coming out. Yep. It did not fit my profile like very well at all. And I'm always open to trying any, no matter what. If people tell me it's the best thing on planet Earth and I dislike it, there's still a respectful way to go about that. And, for the most part, that was me with Larceny. I was like, if you want me to try it, I'll try it. And I've tried almost every single batch. I'm telling you, when that single barrel hit, I was just like, holy moly. This recently happened to me too. I was in Florida bourbon hunting, and I am not a Knob Creek fan. I'm not. And we do have one in the Single Barrel Club coming up, though, that was just as good as this.
It's bonkers. It's a 10-year.
So
it's a 10-year release. I'm so glad we finally got back to 10 years at Knob Creek. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one right here is a 10-year that I bought. I cannot stand Knob Creek. This was just so good. So for me, that's kind of what's happening with the picks. Now, Joe, welcome back. I was asking and curious, do you prefer, you think, the batches or what's kind of happening with the single barrels with Larceny in particular?
So because they're both barrel proof, right? So the difference is super small batch versus single barrel at barrel proof.
Yeah, I think, and I haven't done a side-by-side, so I'm going to actually take out a batch really quick just to see, but I think going off of like the pick, and the pick experience when you're there, I mean, I feel like some of that, like, like I was like, this is some of the best larceny I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
But I think because of the variation, I do like some of the finish and the 4 barrels we got to taste.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go off right now and say the picks. I'll test right now and see. We'll do a little side by side, but I do really enjoy the variation of the picks.
I just did the same. I just poured up a little A125 and I just took a sip actually. And I'll tell you what, not to influence your opinion, but off rip, it's not as complex and doesn't have as good a finish as the pick does. Like, just being honest.
Because this is the C921 batch. I remember this one. This one's coming in at 122 proof. It won, I think, back in 2021 a few awards. So I want to see, because I remember this being one of my. I've been nursing this bottle. I've been trying to save it every last drop, but we'll see.
Yeah, Lee, do you recall like what your favorite batch was?
No, I wish I didn't think about pulling those bottles. So no, I'll just let Joe speak for the
right now.
For the team.
Lee, there's no comparison. The pick is smoking that.
All right, perfect.
I can already tell. Like, it fell a little flat. Like, it's a really good whiskey. I'm not knocking it, but I think the pick and the variation that you get and the finish alone. This one feels more viscous, a little chewier, on the pick. That one just very kind of one track lane. Not bad, good whiskey, but this pick, it's incredible.
And on this topic, the question even could be a little silly. At the end of the day, these are still being even the batches are being hand selected and tasted to a really good profile. You're having experts and professionals craft this batch. It's gonna be good. We're not saying it's not great. Versus you have someone like Joe, the store owner that he was with, Lee, the podcasters that he was with. They all have their very own unique taste buds and experiences with whiskey. They're going to curate and come up with a killer single barrel. It's not to really say one side's better than the other, but I think what's kind of happening right now, I'm leaning towards how the Larceny profile, that weeded profile, fits a single barrel. It's amazing.
Well, and when you blend, the challenge of blending is, sometimes you're blending out really great nuance, right? And so, as you're trying to build maybe a profile, and I think that could be it. I can't speak for them, but sometimes if they have a profile in mind, they may give way or allow some things to give way to other things. And so when we do single barrel, like, we don't have that luxury. It is what it is, right? And so we're really judging on what it is beginning to end and hoping that the customer base will enjoy that beginning to end experience found in this one barrel. As you're blending, whether it's 5 barrels, 10 barrels, 30 barrels, some are like 200 barrels for small batch because it has no actual official designation. But when you're blending, you blend out some of the good with, while you're trying to achieve a certain point, right? And so we don't know what those original single barrels look like, but you might blend some things out that you actually wanted to keep.
Very, very well said, dude. I think you nailed it. Like, for example, you said earlier, we all like the cherry, the oatmeal raisin cookie that this one had. Maybe not all the barrels do, but at the end of the day, they could be saying, let's go for that cherry note. Like, let's get a really cherry bomb batch this year.
Oh, totally.
But you're eliminating that oatmeal raisin cookie that a few of those barrels had. Dude, that was so well said, Lee. God damn, boy, that was good.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I also saw, Joe, if y'all have any questions, whether it's about the program, the bottles, what we've done in the past, please drop them down below for the remainder of the time. How much is the bottle of the month club? I know it varies depending on how long your subscription is for. Obviously, if you only sign up month by month, it's going to be a little bit more pricey if you do a bundle, right?
Click on that link, find out. Yeah. Just go over there. You're not committed by clicking on the link. Don't worry.
Yeah. Check it out. Check out pricing. And it's very, I don't know. I think the convenience of it's pretty great. You get Lee and I don't know. Our pals together.
I think that, the one benefit of having a club program is just that, especially this club program, is that it has been really heavily curated and then also verified by other people that weren't there, right? So like I think sometimes you can in a single barrel pick, like you kind of align with your group. And then after we've done all of that, then we send it to like Kanan to be like, what do you think? Right. And I think like having multiple steps of verification is great because man, maybe hopefully not, maybe my palate was off that day. I don't think so. But like, like some things happen. And so you want somebody who's like separated from the event to then be like, that thing's bonkers. Let's put that in the program.
And I think out of everything, we maybe only didn't really agree on one or two so far in the whole entire program. Everything else, I really love Lee's palette, and you kind of could tell tonight. I hope like some of the notes that he could bring out is just so good.
And it's important to know. I always pick by committee. So any selection that I make is actually a committee of, at the smallest, it's 2 of us. At the largest, it's 10 people, right? And my committee is of, podcasters, industry writers, people, that are actually like distilling and blending in other capacities and other brands. And so ideally, I want each of these picks to be something that we already know industry leaders are helping secure. And then once it gets here, then, Kanan and team can also be like, oh yeah, you guys did a great job. Like, let's have additional layer of verification to say, yeah, this is great or no. And I love that you also say no. Like we've had some picks that I've made that you're like, not right for the program. And I love that, validity of just, hey, what we're putting here is going to be great.
Yeah, I agree. And like just also an example, some of the most recent ones I could think of off rip, like we did an Old Forester single barrel proof. That was killer. My favorite, obviously my personal favorite was, I think it was last year. We did a Maker's Mark pick that was, dude, it was phenomenal.
It was bonkers. We were talking about weeders. That Maker's pick, I don't know how, I hope other people have done that recipe. Because it was just bonkers good.
What do you think like your favorite has been so far that we've done in the past year?
So we had from short barrel, we had basically a Booker's barrel, and I don't know if you're new to whiskey buying, a lot of these brands will auction off or sell off barrels that they don't see themselves using. And what happens with the Booker's program is if it's under, I believe, 125, it doesn't make the program. So even if they've been aging it for Booker's, because it's under that proof point, it didn't quite qualify for the program. So they sell those barrels off. Well, short barrel came into a good number of those barrels.
Still have that bottle.
Yeah. And then aged it in Atlanta for another like Atlanta hot ass summer. And then gave it to us. And so you basically get a Booker's barrel in a short barrel wrapper for like $55 or like something like dumb, right? It's so great to see how the industry moves and like that we can take advantage of those things.
And I did see a question, very good question. Any smaller distillery picks? Yes, we have. Old Potrero, off the top of my head that I can remember. Short barrel is actually
short barrel is super small,
very small. Art of the Spirits, we did do an Art of the Spirits pick that was killer.
Oh my God, that Art of the Spirits, the 95.5 finished in. Do you have it? Are you grabbing it?
It's a double oaked. Look.
Yeah.
We did an Art of the Spirits. So
that label.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love that.
So cool.
Definitely. We have some of the largest distillers in the world, some of the smallest distillers. It really goes off of what makes sense for the program, what's going to give you the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, that was finished in a Buffalo Trace barrel, right? I mean, it was awesome.
Little side, it was so good.
I saw a question come in from Travis, and he said, I want to see what you guys think. He said, even though not a weeder, how does this compare to one of the newer batches of ECPB? Well, which would you prefer?
Okay.
Go ahead, Lee.
So they are different. I mean, I think so I'll say it from single barrel to single barrel, at least. I think that when I pick a Larceny barrel, I want something that is complex. To Kennan's point, a little bit dusty. It's always got some like fruit forward, dark fruit forward notes. And sometimes it's a little bit hot for its proof point. I actually think this is one that drinks a little bit hotter than 123, but I'm not mad at it. For Elijah Craig, I tried to actually get really close to the Elijah Craig profile, and then get like one or two notes that show you like, oh, Elijah Craig can go this way or that way.
Right.
For the Elijah Craig batches, man, I've been drinking Elijah Craig batches for like over 10 years. I love how they just stretch what you know about Elijah Craig, right? Like they really allow you to explore that brand.
Right.
I don't think the Larceny small batches quite do that as well. I think the Elijah Craig ones from year to year, or from release to release, really kind of let you just be like, oh shoot, Elijah Craig does that.
Yeah.
I
just pulled off the shelf since you were asking. I wanted to go single barrel to single barrel. Though I know your question was about the batch, but this is a 10-year single barrel in particular, and this one is phenomenal. I will say, through initial palate, I did prefer the Elijah Craig. When it comes to the finish, though, that nutty peanut butter note comes through, and it was way more off-putting than this. This, like finish-wise, was better. So I do think they both have their pros, and I don't even necessarily would call it a con. Just one's a little better than the other on each. But yeah, I hope that. I mean, I couldn't tell you. They're both phenomenal bottles. Both really good. Comes from the same distillery, and weirdly enough, though, still kind of remind you of each other, like on the back end, just a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, that's Heaven Hill. That's their profile. Every distillery has that profile.
I mean, they're aging in the same warehouses.
Exactly.
They're right next to not right next to each other, on various levels in similar warehouses, right? Like it's still off of the same stills and just kind of switched out. So it's really about, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're all kind of family, right?
I'll be curious, right? So now, I mean, these are 7 years old. Phenomenal. These Larceny picks are amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine a 10-year, 11-year.
I know.
It's going to be game changing, right?
Yeah, that's when you go to Old Fitz, bro. Come on.
I know. Well, that's what I was curious about. Because like to that point, Lee, I wonder, and I don't know, like with the decanter series, we have the decanter series. I know, well, maybe they will. Who knows? I guess we'll have to see. But, you have
I personally do not think they're going to let the Larceny single barrels get beyond 8 years.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
I do think they're going to keep, and guys, just put a pin in this. I could be wrong as heck.
We'll see.
I could be right, but I think that they will keep Larceny at 7 to 8 years.
And then
they will keep Elijah Craig at 8 to 11 years.
Yeah.
And for Larceny, they're keeping all of those older barrels for Old Fitz.
Yeah.
And then for Elijah Craig, they're keeping those older barrels for the actual like age stated Elijah Craig releases, right?
The big releases.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna keep it, and hopefully they don't get as young as 6. That would be like start getting a little bit weird. Yeah. But I think like that 7 to 8 for Larceny is perfect.
Yeah.
But that's where I kind of see it is like Larceny 7 to 8. Elijah Craig is 8 to 11. I don't think we're going to see those 12, 13-year Elijah Craig single barrels anymore, but, that'd be great.
You know who's going to pull off if they make one exception and they do it for bottle raiders and they give you an 11-year Larceny pick.
Come on, Lee. And then they'll say, we'll do something even more special for you. We're just, you know what? We're going to actually call it an Old Fitz cask, the first of its kind. And we're going to put it into the decanter. Dude, imagine.
Man.
The internet would blow up.
One can dream.
My head would explode. That would be it. I would just be like, gone.
Dude.
Goodbye, everyone. I'm retiring right now. It's done. But yeah, I think those ages are going to stick pretty close.
Yeah. You're right. I do think you're absolutely right.
I do miss the days of Elijah Craig, like 12-year single barrels, right? Like, man, but also this gets into the next question, which is like, and maybe we can close on this. Like, what is everyone's sweet spot as it comes to bourbon, right?
Yeah.
Or as it comes to a wheated whiskey, right? Like, because I'll answer last, but like, what is your sweet spot for Elijah Craig? What is your sweet spot for Larceny?
Yeah. I think my sweet spot for Elijah Craig is between, I'm going to say 10 years. I think 10 years for Elijah Craig to me is perfect. I've picked 3 different Elijah Craig barrels. All have been 10 years every single time without knowing the stats,
Okay.
And then for Larceny and like, if I think just weeded bourbons in general, I think honestly, Lee, I think you're right. That 7 to 8 year mark, I think is when weeders really shine. Like, I think, cast strength or even, just regular proof. Like, I think that 7-8 year mark is probably for me. If I think about all the different, and I brought this down just for science. I'm trying to remember. The grain of glass.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that bottle's so good.
Same mash bill as that Larceny and Old Fitz.
That's so good. It's such
and
a
this
good bottle.
is
Is it age stated?
This is 6 years. Yeah, just over 6 years old. Yep.
Whoa.
121 proof. This is batch 1. Yep.
Yeah. I was not to completely copy you, Joe, but 10-year Elijah Craig picks for me all day long. 10 is the sweet spot for me too. Like the ones that I absolutely love have been 10 years old. Every now and then though, I'll get a little 8 or a 9 year. Like honestly, some of the most common picks that I get to taste, and I rarely have them just because of how common they are. But when I go to liquor stores for my regular videos and they're like, hey, you want to try some more picks? Majority of the time it's going to be Knob Creek, Maker's Mark, and Elijah Craig. That's like some of the most common picks. And majority of the time they're 8 or 9 years old, which is cool. But every now and then you run across a 10. Every now and then, though, I'll get a little 8, 9 year that just kind of takes me by surprise and I really enjoy. For weeders, I think anything 7+ as well. Around that mark. And now on the proof side of things, though, I don't know if that was part of the question, but I was a big time proofer. Like, I just wanted the highest, craziest proof. Because I wanted to see what, this was like a year ago, what whiskey had to offer. Like, everything, I wanted all in one sip. And from that, I still appreciate the hell out of like your hazmat stuff, your cash-stream stuff. Love it. Like, I still drink, when I do a live stream, whenever, I'm still going to drink probably half is going to be cash-free stuff. But I do think my sweet spot now, I've kind of learned, it used to be probably like 125 plus, which is crazy. But my sweet spot now, I really do think is like 110 proof. I love my bourbon around 110. It's fucking awesome because you can put it in a cocktail. You can put it in an old fashioned even, which the majority base body is your whiskey, and it not just be too overpowering. And you can just drink it neat. I don't know, like, and it's still going to give you some body to it without being too weak. So yeah, like 110 proof. That's my sweet spot now.
I was just looking actually at this year's book.
Yeah.
And looking at my notes. So Elijah Craig for next year. So this will come like OND, like probably December. Every single release that we tasted was above 127. It's going to be a hot ass summer. So the one that we picked will be above 130 easily. But as far as like age, I do think like teetering. So this is 7 years, 7 months. I do think teetering on 8 years is really good for Larceny. Like, I think that's like Joe, you said it. The sweet spot for weeders is probably right somewhere in there. I'll go against you guys on Elijah Craig. And I actually think, funny enough, I actually think it's like 8.5 to 9 years. Elijah Craig is probably some of my favorite stuff. And and I think I think the reason is for single barrels, they are so astronomically different.
Yeah, true.
I think when they start getting a little bit older, they start getting a little bit closer in profile. Like, from what I've tasted, like they're starting to get they're locking in that profile a little bit closer. And so if I want something that's wildly different, in fact, I think last year, like, our Elijah Craig was 8.5 years. And it was like this dumb, like, wow, I would have never expected this from Elijah Craig. Right. And I love that idea of like, no, this is not Elijah Craig, but it is.
Yeah.
I think once you get 10, 11, 12, you're really starting to like narrow in on that
Totally.
profile, which I love. I love the Elijah Craig profile, but as a buyer, I want something that's kind of wildly different.
So I think then, Lee, I have enough Elijah Craig. I have so many bottles of Elijah Craig, whether it's picks or batches. You make it out in August. We're doing a blind. We're gonna film it. We're gonna see.
Oh my God, let's do it. Let's do it.
That'd be a blast.
Dude, Joe, thank you for joining us tonight, being a little special guest, dude.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun getting to chat with you. Thanks, to the Wiskeyer team, the Wiskeyer followers for watching tonight, kind of checking out what we've been doing for, I think, over a year now, at least since I've been a part of it. Every single month we do this. This is just normally behind the scenes. So unless you're a subscriber to the club, you don't get to see. But thank you guys for being here tonight, asking questions. Lee, for picking amazing barrels. I really appreciate that. Make sure you guys check out the link. Unfortunately, probably next month, the month after, you guys won't see this unless you're one of our members, like I said. So, yeah, this was a fun one, a really great bottle that I'm going to enjoy. Do you guys have any closing remarks before we head out?
No, I'll just say I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you. This is a blast. And, I think just talking about the stories, our preferences and everything, I mean, yeah, you can't beat it. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, Joe, come on back, man. This was great.
Yeah. Anytime. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Kanan, you dropped it earlier. I mean, that 10-year Knob Creek coming in.
I did drop it.
Yeah.
I did drop it.
So I'm gonna bring it back. That 10-year knob for next month is going to be a blast. Like,
I think I have it.
I am just so happy that Knob Creek is back above 10 years for bourbon.
Yeah.
We had a few years where we were looking at 8 and 9 years.
Yeah.
Also, we're on the I'm gonna bust it out too. Don't be mad at me, Lee, but this one was almost out of all the samples, even over the Larceny, everything.
Yeah.
This was probably my favorite, was the Elijah Craig. That's also dude, this one is money. Really good. And there's no age that age. We'll probably talk about that when the time comes or when the bottle comes in, but this was a good one. And I'm gonna take a wild guess. It was probably 8.5 years around that time. That's what my guess is based on your profile.
I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know.
Heck yeah, dude. So that was great, guys. I appreciate you. Joe, make sure you don't press your little X. Stay after the stream real quick. I want to tell you something about next month's bottle. And everybody here, appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week and your weekend is wonderful. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, y'all.
Cheers, you guys. That was
Cheers.
Good. Here comes Awkward Part.